Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time so far. We all know you through music since the night. Is it okay to start?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We all know you through music since the 90s, and I started reading your memoir, this one, thinking about how I could classify you in order to conduct the interview in the best way for the audience. You are a painter, you are a poet, software developer, a promising family business executive, and a rock singer. Can we say that everything is a consequence of you being Armenian, if not by birth, then by heart?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
Everything is a consequence of my incessant curiosity.
okay.
And that comes from being an artist more than anything else. And, you know, so I like to try things. I like to, when I'm passionate about something, it's endemic of an artist. Then you explore it and you get excited about it and you dive deeper, whether it's coffee, whether it's writing a book, whether it's painting, music, it's all the same to me.
Yeah, I see. Yesterday, I'm not sure if you are aware of, a supporter of the genocidal Jair Bolsonaro, he blew himself up in front of the Brazilian Supreme Court in protest against the court ministers and President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva.
I
Yesterday,
didn't hear I
yeah,
didn't hear that. He blew himself up?
he blew himself like boom, boom.
Bolsonaro?
Yeah, no, not a supporter of Bolsonaro.
Oh, supporter of Bolsonaro. He blew
Yeah,
himself up in front of Parliament. Oh my God. Wow. That
in
I didn't
front,
hear that. I'm surprised. I
yeah,
usually read my news in the morning and I didn't see it on The Guardian.
yeah, you see, and I mean, your country of birth, Lebanon, is under
Mm.
attack from Israel.
Yeah.
Last week, we have Donald Trump elected president of the United States for the second time.
Yeah.
Being a human rights activist, how is your life in this world today?
Um, the world is a very worrying place, especially if you have kids.
Yeah,
Um, and it's turning into a very over time, the migration from environmental catastrophe and the wars, the invasions, the colonization has created huge immigration issues, especially throughout Europe, which is pushing multiple governments toward very right-wing kind of anti-immigrant policies. It's becoming a very dangerous and segregated place, this world. And it's very sad. It makes me sad for my children. It makes me sad for the planet. As an activist, I am completely opposed to most things in this direction. And I want to see, you know, um, I want to see sustainable growth and living on the planet. And I want to see people that actually have humanity and the planet's conscience in mind in charge instead of those that are into just profit and just you know um, raping the planet if you will. It's heading in the wrong direction, but the only way that I am able to stay sane psychologically and spiritually and hopeful is in a very kind of narrow way of living within my own family, within my own group of friends, and trying to stay healthy. But if I think about the broader issue regionally and worldwide, it's very sad. Yeah, I think the the lessons of Armenian genocide from the 20th century, the first genocide of the 20th century, or the Holocaust, have not been learned,
yeah,
and they are happening again today. The indiscriminate bombings that kill a lot of civilians, whether it's in Lebanon, whether it's in Gaza, whether it's in the West Bank, whether it's in Israel, is really anti-human. And the elections we just had in the US, a friend of mine asked me, what do you think about the elections? I said, the ranges are wrong. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, we're voting between colonialism and fascism instead of progression and sustainability. The ranges are wrong.
Yeah.
You know, as an artist, it's a way of seeing things, you know. So I don't know if I answered your question, but there you
Yeah,
go.
you did perfectly. Couldn't agree more. And you mentioned your kids. Your kid turned 10 last week, right? Congratulations.
I'm sorry?
Your kid, your son turned 10 last week, right?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Congratulations. And
Thank you.
your initial idea was to write a book about the intersection between justice and spirituality. I believe that you were motivated by the meeting with the Dalai Lama when you asked him about it. Did you change to a memoir because telling your story would probably impact more people for what you want to talk about it? Is that right?
Not really. It's not, I never think of an audience when I'm creating, or the lack thereof. I always think of what I want to express. The format of, you know, I had an agent reach out to me from London, and a literary agent, and he was interested in a memoir. At the time, I was not interested in writing one. I've always had this idea of writing a philosophical book about the intersection of justice and spirituality, as you said. Even before meeting the Dalai Lama, I asked him that question there because I was interested before that. And when having a conversation with him, we agreed that it's possible to do both, have a memoir that's also a philosophical exploration of those themes. And so that's what I attempted to do ultimately in this book.
Okay, I don't want to detract your artistic career because you say that you're an artist, first of all, but reading your memoir, it's clear that your purpose and mission in life has to do with the cause of recognizing the Armenian genocide. Because in practically every situation you tell, you always lead the narrative toward this. Is that a wrong way to see it?
The Armenian genocide is the river of struggle that my people have had to endure, to cross into the modern age. And I am one of those, and my grandparents were survivors of the genocide. But I use the Armenian genocide as a very important lesson in symbology to talk about current things right now, because as we discussed earlier, genocide is happening today.
Yeah.
You know, when the genocide occurred, there was no Nuremberg trials, for example. When the Holocaust occurred, there were those trials. People were held accountable. There were ICC trials after, you know, Srebrenica, you know. There were Truth and Reconciliation Commission after the Rwandan genocide, you know. You'd think all of these things would create an atmosphere where the horrors of genocide and ethnic cleansing and crime against humanity would not occur, but it's still occurring. So I tell the story of my people and the genocide, not just because it's where I come from, but it's also a blueprint for what's happening today, and it's really sad that it's happening today. That's what I'm trying to get through, that instead of genocide being something in history that we should put away and live in a new world, we're living an age of genocide, modern genocide, with modern, really destructive weapons.
And I have a curiosity about something you wrote on the book. Do you think that the band becoming #1 on September 11 is a coincidence? Or, as one of your favorite authors, Shakespeare says, there are more things between heaven and earth than our vain philosophy can imagine?
A great quote. Yeah. The word coincidence is actually very interesting because we use it as a definition of something haphazard. But in math, coincidence, two coinciding angles have a very defined intersection. So, you know, it's hard for our minds to grasp the vastness of possibilities within 1 second in multiple worlds that we live in, a spiritual world, physical world, psychological world, etc. So whether that was a coincidence, whether it wasn't a coincidence, I don't know, but it definitely brought us to the place that we needed to be to deal with the things that we needed to deal with. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and speaking of System of a Down, your bandmates, especially John, say that the group doesn't follow the trajectory that the public would like with album releases and tours because of you. Is this view correct?
I don't know, maybe. I don't like touring very much. It's something that for many years has felt what's the word, artistically redundant, repeating yourself. You know, you play, but I do like playing shows. I do like playing one-off events. That's why we did Sick New World, you know, in Las Vegas this year, and we did a beautiful festival concert in San Francisco at the Golden Gate Park as well. So we will be playing shows, but they won't be long tours because that's not something that is physically exhausting and artistically redundant. Now, um, the fact that we don't cater to an audience is the definition of being an artist. You don't cater to an audience if you're an artist. You cater to an audience if you're, you know, someone who's an entertainer, right? And of course we also entertain,
Yeah.
but we do what we want to do. An artist does what they want to do, and if people like it, great. You know, if they don't, so be it. So I'm not sure what you said about what John's saying is the exact way that he meant it, because I know and I love John. John's my brother-in-law and my drummer. But yeah, I mean, I have been the reason that the band hasn't toured extensively in the last number of years. Yes, it's in my book.
Yeah, and you even suggested that they could find another singer to replace you, and you could do some shows with the band, but not tours. I ask you because you are a fundamental signature of the band, and the fans probably wouldn't see the band the same way. Do you still support the idea of them having a other singer for the band, and you join them for a couple of shows?
It's very simple. I love the guys in my band more than I love the band.
Okay, I see.
So whatever they want to do is okay with me. If there's things I can't do that they want to do, I'm okay with it. But I do agree with you that I think that it's very difficult. We have such an interesting nucleus within us four as artists, that changing the formula does really, it messes with it. I'm not comfortable with that idea.
I see.
But I also love my friends, my brothers, so whatever they want to do, I support.
And that reminds me when you say that you love more your colleagues than the band. That reminds me a different part of your book. And artistically, is your satisfaction at releasing an album of Armenian folk songs with your father is as important for you as your solo career or System of a Down's career?
You know, it's something that is important to me because my father supported me in my musical adventure
Yeah,
at a very tough time economically in the family's history. So when he was retired and he had the time, I knew that his passion was waiting to come out, you know? And so I supported him making a record. It's his record. I sang on a few songs and I helped produce it, but it's his record. And it was a pleasure to do. I don't compare apples to oranges. They're two different fruits, you know? I like them both.
okay. And I did my homework and I did a survey with the help of AI. And you are, according to the intelligence system, the leading name among activists for the Armenian cause. More than Charles Aznavour, more than the Kardashians, more than everyone. In the face of these setbacks, such as the Azerbaijan case and political turmoil in the country, are you frustrated with what you have achieved as Armenians' main spoken person to the world? Or do you consider that you are important for some advances, such as Joe Biden's recognition in 2021 and stuff like that?
I'm not sure I understand the question well. Can you rephrase that for me, please?
Yeah, I mean, you are the main spokesperson of Armenian cause around the world, but we have like a lot of setbacks in Armenia.
Right.
Does that
Yeah.
frustrates you somehow,
Sure.
or you think you even with the setbacks, you have advances such as Joe Biden's recognizing the genocide and everything that you are really your work is really important for the cause.
Yeah, it's not about me at all, but I'll talk about Armenia because that's what you're referring to. In
Yeah,
2018, Armenia had a beautiful, peaceful revolution called the Velvet Revolution
yeah,
to overturn the post-Soviet oligarchy corrupt system. For a year and a half, it was thriving. And then during COVID, Azerbaijan attacked. Azerbaijan attacked with no warning, with the help of the government of Turkey and Turkish military. And it was a horrible 44-day war. Armenia was overmatched by the second largest NATO army in the world and Azerbaijan. And we lost 5,000 young men, a whole new generation of young men. And for lands that Stalin had arbitrarily given to Azerbaijan in 1920s that were always indigenous Armenian lands for 2,000 years. In a nutshell, so there was ethnic cleansing in 2023, 2 weeks before Hamas attacked Israelis. There was Azerbaijan, after 9 months of economic blockade and starvation, with two International Court of Justice orders against doing so. They attacked these people, 120,000 ethnic Armenians living in Nagorno-Karabakh, and they ethnically cleansed the area. And now they're holding the COP29 environmental forum in a country known for ethnic cleansing, gas deals, and corruption. So yeah, I'm fucking really frustrated, I'm frustrated because as an activist, as a humanist, when I see injustice win over justice, it fucking pisses me off, right? But I do have hope, and Armenia is recovering. It's rebuilding. Economically, it's at an incredible pace, growing at an incredible pace after the revolution, irrespective of the drawback of the war and Azeri threats all the time. It's made a Western pivot away from Russia, which was its traditional security guarantor post-Soviet Union, because it used to be a Soviet republic, toward the West. And it's growing. It's going to end up joining the EU one day very soon. And I like seeing that. The enemy's always at the border, but there is hope and there is growth. And I think in time, given enough time, it's going to be a very important cultural center. It's already turning that way. We have a high tech sector growing there, a lot of great things, wine and exports, and so I have hope for the country. But yeah, it is very frustrating.
yeah. There's hope. And we are running out of time. So, can we expect any news from you regarding System of a Down in the near future?
Sure.
Sure. Simple as that. What about your other activities? Is there something we can expect?
We just released about a month ago. We released an EP called Foundations
Yeah.
of 5 rock songs that are doing really well on Gibson Records. I have launched a cafe gallery in Los Angeles in Eagle Rock,
Yeah,
California.
I know
If
that.
you're in the area, if you come
Yeah,
visit LA, come check it out. We have the best coffee in town.
I will.
We're doing a System of a Down photography exhibition by Greg Waterman, our preeminent photographer of the last 22 years right now there.
Nice.
Um, I've finished 2 films and a TV series that are both all coming out relatively soon, between now and next year sometime. When I say finished films, I mean the musical score for those films. So I've done those 3. A lot of other things, but no need to mention. But yeah, a lot of stuff happening.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your work, for bring this happiness to our lives through your music, through your activities. And it's the first time I have
My pleasure.
it's the first time I have an audience in an interview because my stepson, he's the biggest System of a Down fan in Brazil. So
Cool.
can I call him to say hi?
Sure. Of course. What's his name?
Marco. Come here, Marco.
Ciao, Marco. Ciao.
He has a tribute
Hey,
band.
what's happening,
Hello,
bro?
Serj. I'm crying.
Nice to meet you, Marco.
He's